According to headlines and reporting on mainstream media and left-leaning pundits, the joy is back and the march is on towards an historic election. Never mind details like policy positions related to what is going on in the world. We have a chance to elect our first Asian American female president. The fact that she identifies as black makes it even more special. To top it all off, she is brought onto the ticket a running mate affectionately referred to as Coach or Big Dad. Since there was a time not too long ago that Vice President Harris was referred to as Malala, it is almost like we have a chance to address the crisis of the nuclear family with a benevolent duo who only have the best interest of the nation at heart. Finally, we can count on a campaign that focuses on things that matter, like feeling good and having our concerns addressed by people who really care. Then again, maybe they are no less likely than so many others who have run for political office to utilize ad hominem attacks and sly comments based on falsehoods. Unfortunately, they are up against a presidential candidate in former President Trump who specializes in wasting everyone's energy, making often baseless and always unproductive attacks on individuals rather than focusing on issues. He needs to focus on how his policies will address not just America's concerns, which tend to focus on the now, but on America's future, which politicians ought to always keep in mind but seem incapable of doing. Former President Trump's entrance into the political fray, with his infamous ride down the escalator, was for many an introduction to the attitude of a successful New York real estate developer. To the surprise of pundits and populists and the dismay of the political class and media giants, then reality star and property mogul Donald J. Trump would demonstrate an uncanny knack for tapping into the grievances of a broad swath of America who wanted to see Washington turned upside down. He won, trading an oceanfront house for the White House, without abandoning the persona that saw him ride to success in the worlds of real estate and TV entertainment. As it turns out, former President Trump's strengths were also his greatest weaknesses. His perpetual tweeting and inability to see himself being involved in anything other than the best, biggest, and greatest led to unnecessary personal conflicts and indefensible positions on things as meaningless as the size of his inauguration crowd. Always relishing a fight, particularly when he felt that his honor was at stake, former President Trump was more than willing to engage a media establishment that had his destruction and the destruction of everything he stands for as its primary political purpose for over a decade. In a media world obsessed with fake news stories like Russian collusion and hyperbolic coverage of the unruly protest referred to as January 6, the Democratic Party found in the press a willing ally in its efforts to frame former President Trump as a danger to the very foundations of American democracy. Former President Trump became such a polarizing figure that many people became incapable of analyzing with any objectivity anything that he did or said, and he did and said a lot. With only a modicum of control, former President Trump may well have won the 2020 election. Almost certainly, former President Trump's obsession with the 2020 election results cost Republicans control of the Senate in 2020 and many congressional and statewide seats in 2022. Former President Trump's bullheadedness makes him uniquely capable of facing the almost synchronized assault that he has faced from legacy media and the Democratic Party for over a decade. Combined with his palpable narcissism, it has also made him toxic for the Republican Party, resulting in a game-changing impact on legislative priorities and policies. America does not need this anymore. Post-debate with President Biden and post-assassination attempt, former President Trump offered glimpses of a more moderated approach to politics that focused on substance over showmanship, policy over personality. If he can continue to rein in his more grandiose posturing and devil-may-care approach to presenting his positions and pursuing his objectives, then the country would benefit from the focus on policies rather than his person. If he fails to corral his penchant for airing past grievances and pursuing personal diatribes rather than turn his attention fully to policy in the future, then America has a lot to lose. While former President Trump's selection of J.D. Vance as his running mate distressed many in Republican quarters, it has been the mainstream media's delight and the Democratic Party's joy to mock and misrepresent J.D. Vance and his ideas. Many have mocked J.D. Vance's changed opinion on the place of former President Trump in American politics without reflecting on why he changed his opinion. At the same time, they have failed to raise any questions about Vice President Harris's dizzying array of position reversals as represented by her spokespeople. They have made up stories with which to mock him, as if that advances the cause of constructive political discourse rather than speaking out against false narratives designed to malign an individual. Through it all, for those who have taken the time to look and listen, J.D. Vance has demonstrated a consistent ability to maintain his composure and focus on the issues that matter in a way that may well offset former President Trump's worst tendencies. Following a nomination process that will be reviewed for many election cycles to come, Democrats have countered the Trump-Vance ticket with a ticket offering platitudes of joy and a happy warrior campaign without detailing or even outlining the basis on which said hope is founded. As Vice President Harris tries to claim the moral high ground and build on the accomplishments of the last 3.5 years of the Biden-Harris ticket, she simultaneously seeks to distance herself from the Biden-Harris policy failures reflected in record high prices, high inflation, record high illegal immigration, and unrest in a world on the brink of World War III. She purports to look towards the future without explaining how that future will come about, as she avoids detailing any proposals in the way of policy that either reflect a continuation of the Biden-Harris policies which she inherits or tack in a different direction on any of the significant issues facing America. While hanging on to the empty "democracy is on the line" mantra of President Biden's terminated campaign, she now offers a call to freedom which avoids addressing what that means. Why be concerned about the details of how exactly she will lead America into a free future in the face of a multitude of trials at home and abroad? The euphoria of even contemplating that she will be leading us is all we need for now. We came so close with Hillary. Now we will not be denied. We will prevail against all the sexist and racist and patriarchal bigots whose bigotry is self-evident in their very opposition. How could anyone possibly vote against her because of policy? She has not yet offered any policy positions. Case closed. And so we move forward towards the most expensive election that America has ever seen. Perhaps it will be as bitter as it is expensive. Perhaps the outcome will seal our divisions and make clear the lie that many politicians persistently put forth about being elected to work for everyone. Perhaps. Or perhaps both parties will bring themselves to present serious policy proposals with serious debates and a revived media that addresses substance over style. Perhaps we will learn how to agree to disagree over issues both important and trivial, restoring political diversity in our neighborhoods and homes. Perhaps not. It is up to us, on whichever side of the political aisle we find ourselves, to determine where we go from here. Thank you very much for your time. I've got a couple other videos listed here if you'd like to take a look at those. And as I'd like to discuss issues related to politics, religion, society, and how in the world we're supposed to understand ourselves and life in the world. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.